And so I want to talk about the ridiculous season that is season 3 of 13 Reasons Why. Now, I know the first 2 seasons aren't perfect, but this third season is an absolute clusterfuck. And this is mainly because of this character right here, Arnie. Possibly the most annoying and nosy character in the history of any TV show or even movies ever. Why the writers thought she was a great idea absolutely baffles me. She is shit. And there is nothing redeemable about her at all. And that's the start of my rant. So I'm going to continue ranting. And I have 2 different notes here, so it might be a little bit all over the place, but bear with me. So the first thing I absolutely hate is Arnie. Now, I'm not saying the actress is bad, I'm saying the character is bad. From the very first episode, we are introduced to this character. She is doing the narration. I don't know why they decide we needed this character. I don't know why they decide to bring in this new character that knows every single character's secrets. She knows every single thing that happened in the first 2 episodes, except first 2 seasons, except she's kind of ignoring Hannah. At least for the first few episodes, they don't really mention Hannah, which I know they want to get away from her, but then don't have this season focus on Bryce's redemption. So this also brings me to my next major issue with Arnie. So this is going to have a lot of spoilers in it, so just warning right now. But she decides to have a romantic relationship with Bryce. Now, she turns around and says, I don't really believe that you are the rapist because I only believe what I see and not what I hear. So essentially she's like, fuck you, Jess, I don't believe you. Fuck everyone, I don't believe what happened to Hannah because, hey, I didn't see it. So she has a romantic relationship with Bryce. She tries to redeem Bryce, saying he's a human being, he has changed, blah, 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 blah. And then, like, maybe people can change, maybe it was a mistake, whatever. But the fact that season 2, he made everyone out to be a bad person, made them all out to be lies, he didn't admit to it to try and get this redemption. Instantly, go fuck yourself. We don't believe shit. And then the final episode is then revealed that Jess and Hannah wasn't his only victims. He also raped 7 or 8 other girls. That he says in his own words. So all season they are trying to redeem Bryce and say, oh, he's just a human being. He didn't deserve to be murdered. He deserved a chance to change. He raped 10 girls. Like, are you nuts, writers? Like, what is your deal? So, honestly, go fuck Bryce. He doesn't deserve a redemption arc. I am glad he is gone. I am glad he is dead. No matter how bad this season made me feel for him, because I do hate myself for this, but there was times where I generally felt sorry for him. But that was all instantly flushed away on the last episode where he's like, oh yeah, I raped these other girls too. I don't know who they are. But hey, if they come out and say I raped them, just believe them. Like, what? Oh! Right, so not only was Arnie a piece of shit with Bryce, she then basically said that Clay was the murderer and that he is obsessed with her and there was nothing ever going between them and he just read into it. One, she kissed him and then instantly went and fucked Bryce, so again, fuck her. But then she's like, oh, he definitely would have killed for me. I didn't realize how jealous and obsessed he was. And then she broke into his room that he shares with Justin and then was scared of Clay. So, one, if Clay didn't kill for Hannah, he definitely wasn't killing for this bitch. 2, you cannot break into someone else's house and then be scared of them. Alright? it is just ridiculous. And then you cannot kiss someone and then say, oh, you were just imagining it, nothing happened between us, yada yada yada. Like, ugh. And then to end the season, they are now dating, and I'm just like, Clay deserves so much better. Like, he had these honest to God feelings for Hannah, which they didn't really come about, but it wasn't because of, you know, her fucking a rapist by choice, or her lying and abusing Clay thinking, oh yeah, he's definitely a murderer. Like, there were so many other factors where Arnie literally just like, nah, Clay's way too obsessive, he seems like a murderer, blah blah blah. I'm gonna fuck Bryce, even though it's proven that he's a rapist. So I believe that Clay deserves so much better. I can't believe the writers decided, hey, this is a good way to end the season with them dating, because just no. And then she lied to Jess about her and Bryce. She lied to literally everyone. When Justin told her to fuck off, that was literally the best moment all season. I am just so frustrated that she lied to everyone. She was so manipulative. She was so nosy. And just everyone just still kept sharing their secrets and still believing everything she said. And it was just so frustrating. Like, this is not just 1 or 2 episodes. This is every single episode of this season. There is 13 episodes of this bullshit. And I kept watching, hoping that they would all just tell her to fuck off and she would be out of the story, and then we could have like a proper ending. But it just never happens. And this season was just so tiresome to watch. So, moving on. There is another problem I have with this season. And that is, they try to also redeem Monty, who is also a rapist. Now, Tyler almost shot up the school because of this. And now you're trying to redeem Monty because he's struggling with his sexual orientation. I understand struggling with your sexual orientation. I understand abusive families and abusive friendships and struggling with your identity. I do not understand raping someone and then trying to be redeemed for it. That is just too fucking far. Like, I don't know what is with the writers this season thinking, oh, we're going to have this rapist and we're going to redeem him while he's been already murdered, and then we're going to have his best friend who's also a rapist and try and redeem him. Like, no. I don't want these fuckers redeemed. I want them out of the fucking show. I want them to suffer for the crimes they committed. So, alright. So that brings me to my next thing, where he then has this relationship with Winston. So, the first time they meet, they don't even talk. He basically just pauses his head down, which obviously he agrees to it, so that isn't rape. He agreed. But it's still forceful. It's still, like, not making me like Monty. And then he beats the shit out of him. I'm like, what the fuck? Like, okay, I get you're struggling with it, you don't want people to know, but he, like, what? And then they get together and have sex, which, okay, again, is consensual. That's fine. But then people are instantly like, yeah, go Monty, he's coming out. Like, he's accepting his identity, shipping him, thinking they're a cute couple. Like, no, they are so fucking unhealthy. It's like everyone thinks the Joker and Harley Quinn are this healthy relationship. Like, they are incredibly unhealthy. And just being gay, being in a relationship doesn't redeem what a piece of shit you are. So, fuck Monty. I am glad he's also dead. Which, the fact they didn't show his body, I'm like, is he actually dead? Or, like, is this just a cover-up? Or, like, I don't know. I feel like this is too much information. Like, a cover-up is too, I don't know. It just seems too intense for this kind of show. Like, they wouldn't really give that much effort to it. But it's just, So that whole thing, especially if you go through Tumblr, like everyone's shipping them and thinking they're a cute couple, like no, they are not. So next relationship that brings me to is Jess and Justin. So I actually like Jess and Justin together, but admittedly they aren't the healthiest relationship because everyone's like, oh, Justin let Bryce break Jess. So yes, that was acknowledged in season 1 and season 2, and it's very like hurtful to be in that kind of situation. And everyone is judging them, which again is relatable and understandable. But now that's been revealed that Justin went through trauma himself, you can kind of realize why he froze and didn't really act when he should have. So even though it's not the healthiest kind of dynamic the writers are presenting to you, it's now more understandable. And also, this is between Jess and Justin. It's Jess that has to deal with this. It's Jess that has to get over how she sees Justin. It doesn't really have anything to do with other people. Especially if you're trying to redeem Bryce in this season, but then you make Justin look out to be even the worst guy because of this. Like, no. Okay? Either they're both human beings and can be redeemed, or they're not. Like, you can't say Bryce can be redeemed and Justin can't be. No. Next, this brings me to Arnie's relationships. Again, they are both incredibly unhealthy. Her and Bryce was unhealthy just because she lied to everyone about it. And she didn't believe anything anyone said about Bryce. And, like, yes, if she's like, okay, he's a rapist, but I still might have this relationship with him, like, I don't understand that, but that is her decision. But the fact that she was in complete denial about it, and then she lied about it, is incredibly unhealthy, and just, again, fuck Bryce. Just anything to do with him is unhealthy. Clay and Arnie, again, I've already ranted about this. I hate that they put them together for so many fucking reasons, and it's incredibly unhealthy. Even their friendship was unhealthy because of how much she lied to him and just basically screwed him over. This brings me to the final romantic relationship. Now, Tony and Caleb, I really like their relationship in this season. It's really cute. They have this really nice story, but I feel like everyone is forgetting that in season 2, they beat the actual shit out of each other. So, their relationship didn't start off healthy, but they're very loving and caring now. But don't act like they are the best, perfect relationship that everyone should aspire to be. Because while they do have this healthy relationship, we shouldn't just forget their past either. And I feel like a lot of people have forgotten that because now they keep comparing their relationship to Monty and Winston, which, again, fuck that relationship, but this still isn't perfect, but it's still probably the most perfect romantic relationship this TV show is ever going to get, if we're being honest. And then the best relationship in this whole show is the bromances. Clay and Justin, basically as brothers, is fantastic. They are, all their scenes are really great together, especially in episode 9, like their little heart to heart. Clay and Tyler, when Tyler finally tells Clay, like, that was just such a heartbreaking scene. It was just so incredible to watch. I'm so glad that Tyler finally decided to tell people. I know it was his journey that he had to decide when to open up to people, but I am so glad he did. I'm so glad it was Clay he spoke to, and when Clay asked his permission to hug him, just, I really adore Clay and just the friendships he has with Justin and Tyler. I just feel like Arnie ruined it and just tried to pit everyone against Clay. And it's just like, no, like, that's never happening. And then, of course, like, Clay gave Tyler the power to stand up at that assembly, which I will come to. So the scene between them was just emotional. And then you got other friendships like Justin and Zach when they were doing that great throwing scene was hilarious. So I really enjoyed the friendships, like even Clay and Tony saying they love each other and hugging each other. Like, that's what I appreciate the most about Clay too, is he hugs everyone. And it's not weird then they're like, oh, we're like hashtag no homo, we're too tough to hug. Like, no, there's no toxic masculinity with these characters, especially with Clay. And I really appreciate that. Zach didn't really do too much in the show. Obviously, he had that issue with his leg, which just had a low resentment against Bryce, but there wasn't too much really focusing on that. There was a few character developments, mainly with Tyler. Obviously, with season 2 to now has dramatically changed. And he actually does this photo thing of like his progress with his body changing, the bruises going away, him exercising. Like, that was a really cool scene. Jess has become kind of the person like to lead I'm a Survivor. Like, she is doing so much. Justin, of course, opened up a bit more, and again with the assembly scene that I'll come back to, Justin has changed so much, and Justin's probably one of my favorite characters now too, especially with him and Clay as brothers. I just wish like he stayed clean and that he didn't rely on the drugs, but I'm glad that he has now asked for actual help, and I'm hoping in season 4 he will get the help he needs and stays clean. So this brings me to the assembly scene. So they have this assembly scene in this episode, actually, which is episode 12. And it's basically, my name is this and I'm a survivor. So Jess kind of looked at Tyler, and Tyler shakes his head like, no, I don't want to give up. Because he spoke to Clay earlier, he's like, I really want you to be there, but he didn't think he was going to be. And then Clay walks in, and then you can just see Tyler, like, get this strength that he was kind of, like, pushing down. And then he stands up and says, I'm a survivor. And then this gives the guys around him more power to stand up. Because usually, even though some guys can be open with it, you can usually tell, like, they don't want to be the first guy to do something. They want to follow more. Like, they don't want to be judged because men are meant to be tougher. So when Tyler stood up, that gave the other people power to stand up. And this includes Justin, which no one knew about Justin. It was like, I was shocked that he stood up and said he was a survivor. And I'm glad that him and Jess have now spoken about it, because I feel like that will bring them closer. And like, again, it kind of explains why he didn't initially react with Bryce, why he was scared. So I really appreciate this scene, just because it's relatable. It can give other people the power to stand up, and the fact that Tyler has now opened it up. Monty, he reported Monty, so Monty got the punishment, well, even more punishment than we were expecting, that he deserved. And then, yeah, Justin. So that's more character development for Justin. And it also explains why he is struggling more with the drugs, because he didn't open up before. He kept it all hidden inside. So he had to do something to kind of help with that, because he wasn't talking. While this season focused a lot on the sexual assault thing, this also brought in the character Casey, who I know there's characters like this, and they are probably the most relatable, and they're very up, like, we must fight type thing. I just thought she was a very token type character. I don't like that they tried to protest the funeral, because I feel like that would have given more sympathy to Bryce and more sympathy to kind of that situation, rather than have focus on the I'm a survivor, the sexual assault issues. And the fact that Jess is the leader and Jess is like, no, I don't want to do this. And they ignored Jess when Jess was the survivor from Bryce. I just kind of lost a bit of respect for Casey. Especially how she treated Tyler as well. Like, she doesn't know everyone's stories. As they say, like, if you didn't stand up, it's because you don't want to share your story. But you have a story. And she just instantly assumed, like, oh, Tyler shouldn't be here. So, I know people make mistakes, but I don't know. Casey's just a little bit annoying. My two favourite characters in this season, weirdly enough, was Mrs. Baker. So she comes back and she really helps Tony out and Clay. Because she tries to tell Clay, like, don't put your friends first, put yourself first. And Clay's like, that's just not who I am. And I really do appreciate that about Clay. Like, you have to have someone come in and go, like, you know, put yourself first. And he's still like, no, like, I'll go away for murder before I let anyone else do it for me. Like, so I really liked Mrs. Baker in this. And I actually really liked Mrs. Walker. She knows her son is a piece of shit. But she also loves and mourns her son and the innocence that he originally had, and she's struggling with her own father. So I found her story really interesting, and it was easy to sympathize with her because you can raise your child to the best of your ability, but they are still going to do really shitty things. And she knew Bryce did a really shitty thing, and she hated Bryce for it. And she tried to punish him, and she tried to protect Arnie. And she did so much. And while at one point she's like, you have to look at Clay, it was Clay. This was just her trying to find out what happened to her son and put him to rest, put it all to rest and move on. It's what Mrs. Baker did with Hannah. She went after everyone because she wanted to put her daughter to rest. She wanted to move on. You cannot hate her for this. If you were a mother in this situation, I'm sure you'd do the same thing. And she just had such a fantastic performance in this. And there was one scene when they were doing yoga and Bryce broke down and she comforted him. And even though you know Bryce is a piece of shit, you also know he's about to die. And while she's comforting, she doesn't know that. So it's more heartbreaking watching for her. Because, you know, like, she's trying to hold it together. She's trying to help her son. But it's all a little bit too late. So that is most of my rant. While there is a lot of good characters and a lot of good character development, it's just all basically ruined because of Arnie. She is such a tiresome character. She is super annoying and nosy. She tries to pin everything on Clay at one stage. Then she blames Jess. She's just lies for every episode. And while there is a few good scenes and episodes in this, her narration even ruins that. This season was definitely tiresome, especially when you lead to the reveal of the murder. So this, again, I'm going to reveal who the murderers are, and this is a massive spoiler. So Zach breaks Bryce's leg and possibly arm. So this leaves Bryce vulnerable, but Zach doesn't kill him. Zach goes to confess, and the sheriff is like, it wasn't you. Like, just go. And then it's revealed that Alex and Jess go to meet Bryce to get this tape, which is what you end up listening to. Jess doesn't do shit. She just stands there. Alex goes to help him, and then Bryce starts going, oh, like, I'm going to destroy Zach. I'm going to destroy you. So all the redemption that they were trying to get us to believe in season one just... not in season one, like the whole season, just instantly goes out the window with this final episode because he admits he raped more people and he's like, I'm going to destroy Zach, I'm going to destroy this, blah, 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 blah. And Alex throws him over the fence and he lands in the water, and because of his leg and arm, he can't swim, it's freezing cold, he drowns. So this is not a surprise to really anyone because we already knew he drowned. I was kind of surprised that it was Alex and Jess. I just feel like more people kind of had... Like, I didn't really see Jess murdering someone. I thought other people had more of a motive to do it other than Alex. But it also explains why their relationship was so weird at the start and why they couldn't be intimate with each other. And yeah, so it kind of explains more of their backstory of why they were so weird this season. But the fact that they aren't going to get punishment for it, because Alex obviously murdered him. Jess is just a standby, but she's not innocent in this. And they pinned it all on Monty, who died in prison. So, like, it's all this nice little, just closed off, like, whatever. It's just a closed case now. And I just find that a bit ridiculous because that means Alex is off scot-free. He's not going to get any punishment. Jess isn't going to get any punishment. Arnie basically incriminated everyone in her, like, narration speech to the cop by saying, oh, there was going to be this shootout, but they took the guns. Like, she incriminated everyone. So technically the cop could just go and arrest everyone and go, hey, you helped with this. Like, so I feel like that's going to come out next season because at the end they did find all the guns, or they're just going to completely drop it, ignore it anyway. So that infuriated me. And just the fact they pinned it on Monty, and Monty obviously has an alibi if he was still alive with Winston. He could come out and just derail their whole confession in the next season anyway. And then you see the cop burning clothes. And I assume they were Alex's clothes and they had Bryce's blood on them. So he's covering for his son, which I can understand because he did the whole speech about when he found him on the floor when Alex shot himself, that he wished it was him instead. So obviously he's doing everything he wants to protect his son because he doesn't want to lose Alex, which I can understand because this is going back to Mrs. Baker and Mrs. Walker. They did everything they could to save Hannah, to save Bryce. It's just the same thing. But I just feel like next season is going to be more of a clusterfuck because I feel like they bring Arnie back, which I absolutely do not want. I hate her so much. And the season was just tiresome to get through, especially when it was just kind of a predictable ending of these people murdered, but nothing's going to happen. And just, yeah, them trying to redeem the rapist this season was just infuriating. So, if you are trying to decide whether this season's worth watching, I would say no. If you watched all of this video, you basically know who was responsible, and just Arnie is not worth suffering through. I am still going to watch the last season just because I've already made it through these 3 seasons. I might as well see how it ends. But I'm hoping Clay, Justin, Tyler, Jess, Zach, everyone goes off and to have a happy life, and Arnie just fucks off. So, thank you for watching and listening to my rant. I'm sure there's a lot more other issues I had with it, but I just had to get out my rant about Bryce, Arnie, and Monty because these characters are not redeemable. I hate all 3 of them. They should go fuck themselves. So, thank you for watching. I know this channel is usually for reviews, but I enjoy doing my Veronica Mars rants, so I thought I would do this one. Anyway, let me know in the comments below what you thought of this season, or just 13 reasons why in general. And yeah, like, subscribe, and I will catch you all later.